Welcome again. Thank you. And also appreciate joining. Hammer the Delusion is this series. Look at different ways of the delusion. We think we are smarter than others. That is also a delusion. What I have to do, even if I say I'm smarter than you, what will happen? Nothing. Instead, I should base on the knowledge. I should have a clear understanding of the cause and effect in any particular event, particular situation, in relationship. Normally, parents and the kids, parents normally say, I have 50 years of experience. You should listen to me. And the children says, what you have studied at my age, you can complete the sentence. So we should keep our mind free from this kind of a delusion. Sometimes we judge someone's character based on their appearance. You see that beard, long beard, if it is little longer and a black, without goggles, without glasses, I may look like Osama. Never judge anyone. Keep your mind free. In your relationship, at home, in your professional life. Now I'm just pinpointing because these deluded thoughts and ideas causes lot of challenges, and it prevents us to awaken to the real self, believing you are entitled for a special treatment. Isn't it? Sometimes it happens to us. Just remain casual in your approach towards the world, but extremely alert and aware about what is behind the body and the mind complex. That is the meaning of the mindfulness. Another delusion, we assume worst of others' intention. That is going to cause you lot of pain and the problems in your life, I can tell you. Lot of pain. We start assuming, we imagine that others have a worst intention about ourselves. And that keeps our mind busy all the time. It begins the gossip. And gossip never ends. Another very important point is that living outside your financial means. Never do that. It will increase the Rajasic Guna that we discussed in the self-inquiry, and it will keep you on your toes all the time. All the time. So what happens, these examples that I have cited, which causes lot of delusions, and then you say, I'm not thinking like this, but I have unwanted and unwelcome thoughts in my life. Obviously. Because you have a deluded perception, and out of the delusion, your mind is working, it will multiply and it will cause a lot of issues, a lot of challenges in your life. Unnecessary, unwanted challenges. Think of it. I'm not saying that I'm right, but if you contemplate and reflect, and you get rid of all these deluded thoughts, your mind is free. Normally we say, I have lot of thoughts. How can I focus? You cannot focus unless you have a delusion. Understand this clearly. Any repetitive thought pertaining to the world outside, pertaining to the near and the dear ones, your kids, society, the world outside, is because of this delusion. You are 5 years old, how many thoughts you have? Think, think. You don't have that delusion in your mind. We have to become like a 5-year-old kid. We have not too much to think. So last session, we understood delusion is a confusion about what is real and what is unreal. If I move my mind with what is false, it will definitely cause suffering, not today, maybe after a few days, because your mind keeps on thinking about it and gathers those impressions, and then you blame that I have unwanted thoughts. Delusion makes us see happiness in outer things like objects, people, events. If I remember, happiness is within, and then ask the mind to follow this thought, and then see how many unwanted thoughts you have. No, I'm sorry, I cannot make you happy. I cannot make you unhappy all the time. Very clear. And then I try to rationalize, and then I go on a delusion spree. Problem? Our master says that problem, confusion, anxiety, frustration, laziness has an element of delusion in your life. What appears true is not true. And then what happens? The mind claims and decides and declares, I am worthy of suffering because of that delusion. We are not worthy of the delusion. We are not worthy of the suffering. We are not worthy of the delusion. You all are seekers, and this is going to be a very important series. So removing the delusion. I'm still laying the foundation of this text. It's such a wonderful text. Just by laughing and smiling, you listen to it and you understand the delusion, you get rid of it. It's just a play and fun. Every verse, it is just a poem. Another cause of this delusion is that we have assumption. I meet you and your expression is different. Mind begins the assumption. Mind instantly starts this assumption, and it begins the assumption not only meeting the person. You wake up in the morning and you see the sky is clouded. One woman in New Jersey and I met, don't you see, it's weather is so bad, it's clouded, it gives me depression. What the cloud has to give you the depression? I have an assumption. Instantly, can I wake up? Can I change? Every day, mostly 5 days, in 5 days when I meet people, they have different assumptions. And it is because of the assumptions 99% of the divorce takes place. Think of it. I assume you behave like this, and then it strengthens from one assumption to the another and the third and the fourth. I already told you about Osama bin. We carry forward those assumptions, we rationalize. From one delusion, we live into the another delusion. Can you quantify your happiness if you have $5,000 or 5 million? Do you have 5 grams of happiness if you have $5,000? Or you have 5 kilograms of happiness if you have $5 million? You have to hammer your mind again and again. I am not saying don't earn. Pay attention to it. No master says, don't go for it. Master says we quantify. That quantification is delusion. Did you get it? Quantification is, if I marry Miss Universe, I will be, add many sentences. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. No, at least, first impression should be good. And if the first impression is based on your assumption, you will definitely be defeated. You go for an interview with the first impression, you have bought a suit and the tie, but you are not able to deliver what they are asking. What will happen to your first impression? Now, I'm not saying don't do it, but don't quantify. Don't give 99% of the weightage on the outer objects and events and the things, but pay attention to the quality of the mind, and you are free. What is that known as? That is known as non-attachment. So to get rid of that delusion, first you can say the non-attachment, meditation is the second, self-inquiry is the third, and continue to gain the knowledge by listening and learning at the subtler level until the delusion is gone completely. Complete end of delusion is known as awakening. Why? You see the things as it is. Do you have any problem? You see the sky as it is. Tell me. But now you see me and I have a long beard, and maybe 10 years ago you had maybe you had a very what the word I want to use, you have a very reactive encounter with someone who also has a beard, and the assumption mixes together. Okay, now I have to be careful about this beard guy. It even returns after 10 years. I can tell you. Delusion. We have this master pays too much of attention, but he made it like a singing a poem. That is what we are going to learn. Bhaj Govindam. The text name, another name of the text is known as the Bhaj Govindam. We will understand the word Bhaj, and also we will understand the word Govindam. So we have a poem in stanzas, maybe first 3 and 4 lines. We have a hammering on the delusion, and the last line says Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. Can I simply translate? Remember, recall, and relive the real self. That is another one meaning of the Bhaj Govindam. When you have to remember, when you have to recall, here and now. When you are surrounded by anxiety, duality, and a conflict. Are you getting it? For that you need to be a seeker, otherwise non-seeker can't remember. Non-seeker dig deep inside. You are responsible for my stress. They return again and again. But now you all are seekers, we have to go at a subtler level. In times of stress, in times of suffering, in times of frustration, in times of the pain. Bhaj Govinda means it reminds me that I am not worthy of suffering. So the chain of the thought stops. Simply the chain of thought stops. Someone says you are crazy, the chain of thought stops there. You know what we say, the buck stops there. You instantly become aware. Oh, I'm more crazy than you think. Come on. You take it so easily. But if you fight with it, you have already proved that you are crazy. You have proved. We need that extraordinary awareness. Delusion versus extraordinary awareness. That extraordinary awareness is the meaning of Bhaj Govindam. We'll go into the etymological meaning. So Bhaj Govindam, we normally chant Bhaj Govindam means remember, recall, relive. We have already understood what to relive. We have already understood our nature is real self. It is of the nature of peace and happiness. So instead the mind continued the journey of the chain of the thoughts of the delusion. I said, let me give a break. We normally say, give me a space. Give me a space, please. And remember, Bhaj Govindam. So you see the entire spectrum of the delusion. You recall that assumptions that you have made and you drop it. You are ready to think, speak, and act rightly in a higher state of the consciousness. Bhaj really means serving. It also means there is another meaning of service. What is that meaning? I have discussed in self-inquiry that instead of the mindset of a consumer, I become a contributor. You wake up in the morning, you are a contributor, the 90% of the delusion is gone. How you become a contributor? By connecting, by contributing, by being grateful. By being grateful. That is one meaning of the Bhaj. Bhaj also means that you have to melt your false I that is the cause of all the delusion. When you melt your false I, you don't entertain it. That is also the meaning. Bhaj also means you are maintaining an emotional poise all the time. You are not affected by the outer situation, whether it's the pain or the pleasure, victory or the defeat, profit and the loss. Because these are my assumptions. Do you see that? My assumption is that it is a profit and loss is assumption. Pain and the pleasure is assumption. You are paying attention every day for 20 days. On the 21st day you don't pay attention. My assumption is you are ignoring me. So I don't give you credit for 20 days you have been paying attention to me. And only one day, one single event, you might be busy in something else. And then it causes the delusion. I have one mother, I have left all the hopes from my kids, and I'm very happy if they are not coming to me, they are not talking to me. You are already creating an assumption and you are already in delusion. I asked her, did any of your son said you something like this? No, they did not say, but it means that. Are you getting it? It means that. And I know in the same session, I won't say a couple of weeks before, they have an assumption that I'm pointing to him and her. What can I do? You are living in a delusion. Mind has to be free to reach to the highest state of mindfulness. That is the meaning of Bhaj. And Bhaj also means I'm grateful. Today you helped me to live. I'm alive today. I'm able to communicate. I'm able to live in this world. And Govindam. Now understand another meaning of the Govindam. Bhaj we have understood. Govindam. Literally, the Govinda means the originator of yoga as a human personality. A demigod, you can say. demigod. But now pay attention. That is the beauty of these masters. They have chosen the word Govindam. The another meaning is that your sense organs and the mind is working under you, under the intellect. That is another meaning of the Govinda. Whether you say Bhaj Govindam, I am singing in the glory of that Govinda or Krishna, that is one way. It is the same meaning when you say that now this intellect and the knowledge rules over the mind and the sense organ before it thinks and speaks and acts, on the assumption my knowledge inside, my awareness. What is knowledge? Knowledge is awareness. That awareness rules over the mind and the sense organ. So you get rid of the delusion. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. So you see, our masters have chosen these words for that fits to every type, every people having different temperament. You want to worship God, so take the word Govinda as a God. You are an intellectual, you understand it. Take this knowledge, intellect, knowledge and understanding rules over the mind. Otherwise, intellectual fantasy, emotional dependence, assumption, and we are done. I believe you all are getting it. Bhaj Govindam. That is the text. But the first name of this book was Hammer the Delusion, Moha Mudgar. But later on, because every stanza ends with the Bhaj Govindam, so they decided it is better to say this text is Bhaj Govindam. The first stanza has yet to come. We have to understand. Because I am laying a foundation so that you may become clear, otherwise your mind should not react at all. I believe it will not, but somehow if it reacts, then what I can do? So that's why I'm laying a foundation of this. Whenever you have a sense of anxiety, duality and a conflict, is my intellect ready to ask, is this real? That is the meaning of Govindam. Means that Govinda is with me. That is the meaning. Is Govinda is with me. Or whether you say Govinda is a demigod, or you say the Govinda, oh, is the knowledge is with me, is awareness is with me. Am I aware what I'm doing? So when we chant, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, so internally that mind lives into that awareness, guided by the knowledge, guided by the intellect, not the other way. The mind is not dictating over the intellect. If it is dictating over the intellect, we will have to suffer. It's 100% clear that we have to suffer. Why? The mind is impulsive. It is habitual. It follows the assumptions. It does not allow the intellect to see the cause and effect. Maybe a couple of you are talking to one another and looking at me, and I see, oh, they might be criticizing me. And then you all approach to me and you say, here is a gift for you. What happens to my assumption? What happens? I don't quantify my pain and the pleasure. I don't quantify my profit and loss. I don't quantify my victory and defeat. I gave an example. 5 grams of happiness if I have $5,000, and 5 kilograms of happiness if I have $5 million. Does it make a sense? But I make a sense because the mind lives in delusion. we have to hammer this delusion. Very important, there is a very thin gap between the state of a delusion and the state of awareness. Very thin, you can say I cannot measure it. You are aware the delusion is gone. You continue to live in delusion, that is a lack of awareness. So somehow you remember Bhaj Govindam and you return back. That is why this singing is there. Hammer the delusion. Obviously, we have in the beginning, we have to investigate, we have to analyze, we have to go for the cause and effect relationship. Anytime when you are in anxiety, duality, conflict. My master, I have already shown you the picture, 6 feet 5 inches, overweight, and when he used to give a talk for 5 hours, he never used to move from his position. 5 hours with that heavy weight. Body used to become totally stiff, not affected by it. It is possible. Because of the delusion, ego is not identifying with the body. I have to explore, I have to understand this. Keep exploring. Don't accept your anxiety, duality, conflict, and delusion, or any issue that is negative in your life. Don't accept before you investigate. Oh, it's a long journey. You have told a lot of principles. No, only one principle, Bhaj Govindam. Only one principle, Bhaj Govindam. Out of emotion, oh, Bhaj Govindam. I'm adoring, even you can say I'm worshipping the real self. That is seated in me. That is another me. Don't believe in any God. No need. I told you, to recall, to remember, to relive in that real self. You had a particular thought, you went into anxiety. What happened just before a minute? That thought erupted in your mind. You were already calm. Do you see that? You are calm and relaxed, and suddenly I meet you and I say something to you, and your mind is deluded, and the mind has an emotional dependence, and it reacted. Your peace is gone. Can you say Bhaj Govindam at that moment? Can you say that? And you see the life changes. When you say I'm fully busy, you are responsible for the delusion. You're fully busy. Can you stretch 24 hours to 48 hours? Why you are fully busy? We carry the burden, unnecessary burden. No, you don't know, I'm so busy. Become Bill Gates if you are fully busy. Are you getting it? We have created a pattern, a new normal in the modern lifestyle. And those phrases causes lot of delusion that we don't notice. I have one student, he's very intelligent. He made millions. As he said to me, I believe everything, whatever he said. Couple of months he divorced. His daughter was learning from me. Couple of years. So one day, perhaps, he called me, so we had a session, and he told me that I started thinking that why I divorced with the women I lived for more than 25 years. And I want to explore that. I said, you are a seeker. Because if you start thinking in that way, it gives you a point of understanding. Normally what happens in these relationship challenges that you simply say the other is wrong. But if I'm intelligent, one thing, pay attention to it. I'm intelligent because I earned a lot of millions of dollars, but I'm not intelligent to live in peace, for which you have to come to Eastern wisdom. Are you clear? He said, I'm clear. Can I tell you, he paid the money, and every week he has one or the other excuse. It is because of your ego. Because my intelligence hooks me. No, I'm so intelligent, So every day these things happens. And every time, no, today, I have to attend the meeting in the school of my kids, I'm sorry I cannot attend. Don't you remember that you have an agenda set for today? Well, can you not fix the time at the next date? You don't answer me. So I don't go for American marketing. I don't push anyone. You come, it's good. You don't come, that's also good. Because if I push anyone, I am first enter into the delusion before I push anyone. It's a challenging, I know, but it's okay. It's a part of the life. Close your eyes and let us start our journey. Eyes are closed, and you all are seekers. You are comfortable and you are carefree. Can you remind the mind through your intellect what it means by being comfortable? I want you to be the master first of yourself. And when you are master to yourself, you are master. You are done. My master always said that I make masters, I don't make students. I always remember that. Being comfortable. So that state of being comfort is nothing but the state of awareness where the intellect takes over the mind. Same thing with being carefree. Unwanted thoughts are entering into your mind, and you say, continue. You say to the mind, continue, my friend. You may have millions of unwanted thoughts and feeling, I am not carrying it. You are separate from me. You see, you are treating the mind in a very gentle manner. And there comes Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. I believe you can recall, you can relive in the knowledge. What is that knowledge? Happiness is my essential nature. It is the essential nature of every object, everything in the world outside, and also mine. Then why I am suffering? You are losing the grip of that emotional dependence and the delusion. I can bet you, even if you think it helps you. But if you keep on doing it, you are regular and continue the journey, it helps. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. This is also in a singing tone. So you trigger your emotion. Oh, may there be peace for all, for including me. Why? It is my essential nature. It is my intrinsic nature. What it means? What is the essential nature of a sugar? You cannot separate the sweetness of a sugar. I cannot separate the peace from myself, my being. My becoming, yes, you can separate it. So my becoming is ruled by the mind, causes the delusion, and you are done. You see, I am giving another meaning to these mantras. Sarvesham, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all, wholeness in all, holiness in all. Lot of words. That sense of completeness, if the mind recognizes, located beyond the mind, that is mindfulness, transcending the mind. So what is beyond the mind? It is the real self, it is the pure consciousness. Consciousness cannot be divided. So hence a sense of completeness is there. So I recognize the mental consciousness which has an element of delusion. I believe you are getting it, or if not, you can listen, you can understand. Repeat listening, I told you. Sarvesham, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham. May there be an auspiciousness for all. I have to extract auspiciousness in every moment, in every condition, in every relationship. I want to fight with you. Yes, let me fight with you. But first let me extract the moment of auspiciousness. So I don't have an element of likes and dislikes and hatred. So what will happen? I'll fight you with knowledge, with an understanding. What does it mean? I cannot fight with you. I have created an auspicious moment in my life. So the Master says in a different way, let there be an auspiciousness in our life, as if we are going to create it. No, we have to explore it in a particular situation, in a particular moment. And now we will go to the breathing as we have been doing. Plus we have added one more part, that is the flow of the nostrils, as you know. So you already know, looking inside the forehead in the space, you start Om Shanti at an end with a poise and start breathing quick and short breath from the chest. And continue. Your mind says one day that I can do longer, and share that experience with me. And if you all share your experiences that you can do longer than the 4 minutes, we can go for it. So you are enjoying that breathing with Om Shanti in the state of being comfortable and carefree. Just continue. And remember, my friends, that on a given day, sometimes the mind is not ready. The mind has lot of impressions of the delusion. They will come on the surface. So don't get upset. What is the key there? Endure it. And push the mind, no, I will do it. This is going to take me to the peace. Mind, I know you are not ready. You say to it and then keep on. Continue. Normally, that doesn't happen to a non-seeker. But we all are seekers now. It is possible. Someday it will definitely happen. Keep on, continue, quick and short breath. Continue Om Shanti. Keep on the pause with Om Shanti. Keep on with being comfortable and being carefree. One common factor, you are aware that you are a seeker and it is done. Continue. And stop it. Directly move there where the flow of the breath. Just pick up and check if the flow of the breath from one nostril is less. Pay attention there with simultaneous, now I'm using the word simultaneous, awareness of resistance, reaction. Simply accept. Be very clear that first two breathing steps we are doing it for 4 minutes, and the third we are still doing for 3 minutes. But at present your attention, and normally we get a focus. So you are paying attention to the less flow of the nostril, and if you have equal flow, you will experience such a beautiful state. So this step has been taken from the Tantra. Awareness of the breath, you can say, taken from the Buddha. You see, I don't mess up, but I mix up these steps for a particular group to hasten the process of evolution. And now, looking inside the forehead, Om Shanti, and start belly breathing, expansion and contraction. It's a longer breath with an expansion and contraction. Om Shanti continues, being comfortable, and carefree continues. Can I hold on to that? It is a matter of awareness, nothing less, nothing more than that. And if that happens to you, you are enjoying breathing. At the same time, you remember you are doing the Om Shanti. The body doesn't move except the belly, and you have an expansion of awareness. You are aware of the world outside you, of your room, every article. What that means? It enhances your awareness. That is known as the enhancement of awareness. Normally we use the word enhancing awareness for false reasons. Continue. Continue. You already know we are doing it for 4 minutes, and before that, the mind has some resistance because of the delusion. You remind yourself, oh, it is because of the delusion. Everything is okay. Let me continue and see what happens. Our journey together is not based on preaching, it is based on rationality, clarity, practicality, pragmatism. That is the way of the Eastern wisdom is. But it takes time. We have to continue the journey. Continue. Long breath and the hissing breath only into the belly. Even though the rib cage moves a little, it's okay. But your intention is clear. And now stop it. Pay attention to the flow of the breath on each nostril. Alternatively, pay attention to the right and the left for a few seconds to discover if the flow of the breath is less on one nostril. Just pay attention there. Simultaneous awareness of the acceptance and no resistance or the changes that you are experiencing. And if the flow of the nostril is equal, or you will feel a kind of self-absorption. So you are already getting a state of the self-absorption in this step before we move to the next step. Do you see how I designed these practices? But yes, it takes time. I have to open up slowly. Unless you have been enduring 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and now 4 minutes. See that? Knowledge is realized in stages, my friends. It's not a... And now is the time to look inside the forehead. Om Shanti continues. Recheck. Body is comfortable. You are carefree. And now start breathing long, deep in the hissing, both from the belly and the rib cage. Expansion of the belly and the rib, while inhaling, and a contraction of the belly and the rib cage during exhaling. Long, deep breath. We are doing this breath, we have been doing it for 3 minutes. because I can see that we find some challenges of this third type of breathing. Why? Just try to find out. I'll surely answer. And stop it. Return to the awareness of the flow of the nostril. Check it. Any flow which has a less flow of the air, I believe you understand what I'm saying. If it has any nostril that has a less flow, pay attention there. Continue. Or if you have both flow are equal, so just keep your awareness there on both the flow. I've already gave you an indication that I should not have given, that you will start feeling a tremendous sensation around the spine. The moment the breath goes in, and it's simply you feel as if it is going into the spine, reaching to the tailbone during the breath comes out. But you are not changing the rate and the rhythm of the breath. Or some other visions and the experiences. That also takes place. And now look inside the cave of your heart, the triangle. Three-pointed awareness, move the mind on each side of a triangle. Om Shanti, clockwise and anti-clockwise. Once you find you're able to sync Om Shanti with the movement of the mind on a triangle, that is the right moment. You push the mind with singing Om mentally inside the triangle, going into the cave of your heart. Mind seemingly stops in Shanti. After that, you drop saying Om Shanti. Absorb. It's a kind of a self-absorption. The mind breaks that self-absorption. Return again on the triangle. Sync it. Do it again. So now you see that now you are the master of your own meditation practice. I'm just a pointer, a catalyst. You're already discovering that if the mind consciously withdraws inside, it creates a sense of motionless state of the body. It has nothing to do with the body as such. What is the delusion part of it? My body is stiff, I cannot sit for long. That is a very subtler level of a delusion. I can give you all those moments of that delusion. One part I just gave you. You know what you need to do mentally, and if it is supported by emotion, it's a great deal. Anytime the mind fluctuates, you simply move to the triangle sink, then go inside self-absorption. Goal is clear. And now the Japa Om Shanti on 16 segments, a reminder. It is the mind's eye, mind's tongue, mind's ear, mind's touch. For our four senses, four organs, sense organs are working through the mind by dropping Om Shanti. No worries. You may say Om, your mind may say Om very long to feel the touch, to hear, but you're not touching. Fact is that you're not touching. So sometimes people stay for a longer time saying Om Shanti. Even that is okay. Sometimes you just a trigger Om Shanti. All are okay. Everyone's mind is different. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift both your palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences. Bring the hands down, we'll share our experiences. If you have any question, definitely you're most welcome. How are you, David and Jerry?
Very good, thank you. As always, I enjoyed the preamble or lecture, whatever we want to call it, the talk, and lots of takeaways. I'll look forward to re-listening to it on my way to the office here shortly. But the meditation was interesting. The breathing, you were talking about being 4, 4, and 3 minutes long, respectively. And I mean, after the first one, I thought it was 30 seconds long, and then the second one, less than that. And I don't even know, what did we start with? I can't remember what we started with. What was the length of that breathing, a year or two ago? Was it 1 minute or 2 minutes? I can't even remember, but whatever it was, it seemed faster than that. It was really weird. But a lot of indigo color going on through that. So very peaceful.
So you relate that you just said it was 30 seconds and you did for 4 minutes. So obviously you have transcended the mind, and that is why you have the indigo color. That is how we have to understand it. And the mind. And the third one was the 3 minutes. So we have started doing 4, 4, and 3 minutes. And when we lose the track of the time, obviously the mind is not carrying any delusion. You see, it's very clear. There is only a right perception. Beautiful. Beautiful sharing. Thank you. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Thank you. Similar, no resistance to the breathing. It was easy. And also the mind was very quiet and no distractions. I like the looking at how we played a part in things that don't work, not for like punishing ourselves, but for learning and evolving. Because if we don't, we continue to make the same.
Any thought, what she is saying, any thought enters into the mind, first Bhaj Govindam, means I recall, I remember. So I see that thought, I analyze that thought, I become aware of the knowledge in that thought with reference to the Bhaj Govindam. What happens? If there is a delusion, it goes away. Beautiful. How are you, Brandy?
Morning. I'm good. My meditation was really relaxing and peaceful, absorbed today.
Very good. Very good. So maintain your awareness on any deluded thoughts and treat it the same way. How are you, Janice?
I'm fine, thank you. And my takeaway from today's talk was that this phrase, Bhaj Govindam, is like a keyword that we must use to recall. It's a key to recalling the Eastern wisdom in the situations that we normally get carried away by our likes, dislikes, and things that habitual things that we usually do. And so all we need is to remember this 2 words, and from there we can start exploring what exactly we are feeling and how to relate this wisdom to it, and how to think, speak, and act accordingly, rightly, in a right manner. Regarding the practice, it was very calm and deep. I can't recall any peculiarities or differences. It was just seamless. Yeah, the one thing that about the breathing is that it seemed like it seemed like it's a normal breathing to me. So when I started fast breathing either of three steps, it felt like I can go on for as long as needed. Like I entered a mode of just a different mode of breathing that can keep going indefinitely, and it will cause no reaction, no objection. So I can just live indefinitely in this mode of breathing.
No worries. We are going to do 6 minutes each breath. Not next week. And you have the similar experiences like the David. What is the most important thing? You wake up in the world, a thought creates the like and dislikes. Now, because of the likes and dislikes, there will be a chain of the thoughts. That is how our mind is trained. And it will gather the emotional dependence, and then intellectual fantasy comes. So what is the break that you give? You give the break. That is what Dennis is saying. Remember, recall, relive. You live, so you have broken the entire process. And what it takes to break the entire process? You have to answer yourself. How are you, Barbara?
I'm very good, thank you. I had a similar experience to David and Dennis. The
Good.
breathing today seemed effortless, and it just went so quickly. I mean, I just didn't think it was over when it was over.
Yeah.
And the rest of the meditation was just pure peace. So it was really wonderful.
Beautiful, beautiful. We are heading towards the next stage or advancing these practices. I love it. And how are you, Christina?
Thank you. Today felt a very deep sense of peace, and like David, a lot of indigo color around me.
Yeah. Only today you felt so much of peace for the first time? No, I'm joking. But this expression also helps us. That is what I wanted to convey. This expression also helps us because now the mind will be more interested in learning more and going deeper. Our masters have dwelled so deeply into this journey. How much I know? Only 1% of it. And that is what I am conveying to you. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. So practice was calm, smooth, very peaceful.
Very peaceful. Beautiful. That is beautiful. How are you, Ashok? We don't hear you. That's a trick, our internet and the computer does, yeah.
Om Shanti, sir. I have no questions, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. So, how are you, Sangeeta? Where is Sangeeta? Yes, here it is.
सर बहुत यूजफुल था सर जो एग्जम्पशन है तो वो कई बार काम करते हैं लाइक इसको कंट्रोल करना है
क्या बोले
अज्यूम कर लेते हैं कि सामने वाला गलत है कई बार हो जाता है
Yes, what Sangeeta is saying that we always 99% we work through assumption. Your friend knocks the door and you enter, you hug it, and now Oh, my friend has already talked yesterday about some issue. That is why I should make my mind free. Why? Why not keep the mind free? Let one say, and then we will face the situation, then we will say what needs to be said. And we don't do that. So whenever I meet you virtually on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, oh, another boring talk. No, you should be aware. You should maintain that awareness. You see that? That causes, so there are many layers of assumptions supported by the false side, and that causes the problem. Then we are not able to live in freedom. One master says, pay attention this before we meet the next time. Master says, you have to choose one, freedom for the mind. Are you looking for freedom for the mind or freedom from the mind? Instead of Bhaj Govindam, you can say, what I'm looking for? Freedom for the mind. There are many likes and dislikes. So I'm looking for freedom for the mind means I will strengthen my likes and dislikes. Are you getting it? But if I am seeking freedom from the mind, I am seeking freedom from the likes and dislikes. Are you getting it? American phrase, does it make a sense to you? No, it should not make a nonsense to you. It should make a sense to you. That is all for today. Thank you very much.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Thank you, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
I don't know from where this. So, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj Moodhamate. Simple translation is, recall, remember, and relive in that state of consciousness which is our nature. And the Master is addressing fool. O fool. Now it is not addressing to all of us, those who are fool. Last week, one medical student contacted me. I normally have a free session, first time. So he asked me what the hell is awakening. He's a very bright student that I can observe. Can you give me few classes that results me into awakening? So I will treat my patients with an awakened state. I asked him, how many years? Your medical degree is 4 years plus another 3 to 6 years of residency. So almost, even if you calculate 5 hours per day, almost 30 hours per week, almost, take an example of 100 hours per week, 1200 hours multiplied by 5-6 years, 7200 hours. You want to reach to a state, there is a permanent peace and happiness. And you are saying that what the hell awakening is. You cannot get the degree even if you don't complete 4 years of your medical degree. Means almost 5,000 hours you are spending on it. And you are telling me that give me the few classes. Eastern wisdom is highly structured, organized, systematic study to reach to that state. It is possible. It is possible. You need not to spend 5,000 hours. And you are the testimony for it. How come? You wake up in the morning until you retire to the bed, days after days. anxiety, stress, duality, conflict do not touch you. You are there. It can happen in a few days. It cannot happen even after years of the practice. Sometimes you don't see that. You have a medical degree and still you don't behave and act like a doctor. You have completed 6 years, 7 years, 10 years. But still, because you have a degree, you have a certification, you can do the practice. Your behavior and attitude does not change. But here it doesn't work. My behavior, my attitude changes completely. If that does not change, that is not going to come out and express yourself into that state of consciousness. Take an example. Kindness plus delusion. So you have an attitude of the kindness, but plus you have a delusion. It results into hypocrisy. It does not bring any result. You need not to change your attitude having any degree and certification, even from the Harvard or Ivy colleges. But here, change in attitude and a behavior results into change in perception. And change in perception results into the knowledge of the real self. If that does not change, nothing is going to happen. And sometimes it takes long time to recognize that I have to change myself. So what I said, kindness plus delusion. Suffering continues. And what happens? You start blaming the world. Blaming the world. Nothing is happening. The entire complaining and reaction. Kindness plus dispassion. From the day one you change your attitude. You change your behavior. You start living. You get a flash. No, now the goal is very near. You all are seekers. You have been tolerating me for a couple of years, but hardly 3 hours a week. Not like a medical certification where you spend minimum 100 hours per month. Minimum. So my friends, it's a journey once undertaken and once you are committed. One thing is sure, that you constantly grow. There is an inner growth. You recognize those moments of delusion, and the moment you recognize, you move into a state of dispassion, you change your attitude. You start feeling it. If you start feeling it, you start experiencing it, you are growing, you are evolving. Listening and learning, I have told you, listening and learning, contemplation and reflection, plus the practice should continue. Delusion is a false belief or impression that is firmly maintained since our childhood. If you are a child prodigy, then there is no problem. And this text was written by a child prodigy. He left more than 200 books and literature at the age of 32. He influenced the entire journey of the Eastern wisdom in 8th century. All the masters, his interpretation, but he was an extempore poet, and this is what his poetry is. So he has written on every subject of ignorance, and one of them is the delusion. So he said, "Oh fool." So now we have to understand what exactly is this fool. There is a fool and there is a mad and there is a wise. There are three words. So normally he says the fool makes a silly and a poor choices in the life. A mad person is irrational, mentally unstable. I have been in the profession in the past and Christianized there. So when we say mad, obviously it has to, we say that one is mentally ill. We can excuse them. A fool acts silly in spite of knowing it. And a wise person has a deep understanding that leads to a good judgment. A fool lacks awareness. A mad person lacks reason. A wise person has developed insight through their experience, and that experience comes in the Eastern wisdom by listening and learning, contemplation and reflection. You see, all the three states, whether one is a fool or a mad or wise, there's a difference between the mental state. Do you see that? There's a difference between the mental state and a behavior. So what happens, when he is addressing that, oh why, fool, bhaj govindam, remember, recall and relive in the real self. It only demands a movement from the lack of awareness to the self-awareness. And that is why mindfulness is known as a state of awareness, which a mad cannot return to it. He needs a lot of practices, lot of understanding. In cases of mental illnesses like split personality, they live in those hallucinations. A fool can recognize, but still he does it. He acts unwisely, imprudently, without thinking through the decisions. A mad person is angry, irrational, uncontrolled in their behavior. And a wise person, we already have a clarity. You are listening and learning, you develop your discernment and dispassion, followed by the practice in order to get rid of that madness plus foolishness. Enough is enough, I will divorce you. Instant decision. With a person you lived for so many years. Think of it. So he is saying murh mate. In Sanskrit we say murh mate. Mate means the intellect and murh means foolish intellect. O wise fool, don't get deluded. Don't get deluded at any point of your time. You maintain your awareness. Why? To live wisely. But why? To recognize that we are the real self of the nature of permanent peace and happiness. How simple it looks. Christina was saying how simple it is. On Saturday she was saying that how simple it looks. So the master name, the child prosody, was Shankaracharya, who lived in 8th century. So he was moving into the street with many of his disciples near the Ganges river in Varanasi, and he saw and heard a 90-year-old guy. I'm breaking your delusion by this story. So he saw the 90-year-old guy. He was chanting the mantra loudly and teaching to his students the meaning of the mantra. He was teaching the grammar behind that mantra. I need not to understand the grammar behind the mantra. I need not to understand the language behind that mantra. I say Shantoham, you say I am peace. That will work. So Shankaracharya recognized the delusion part of it. What is the delusion part of it? That I'm putting my knowledge in the intellect, but I'm not allowing that knowledge to descend down into my heart. That is what majority of the people do. Now I understand meditation, I understand mindfulness. Oh, there is no problem. Just focus on the breath and it is done. Is it so easy? Can you focus on the breath even for a minute? When your mind is already visiting, mind is wandering, can you reach to that state? You focus on the breath rate changes. Buddha says do not change the rate and the rhythm of the breath. Just you are simply aware of the breath. The moment you focus, you are making an effort. And the very effort builds the ego. And the son of ego is the delusion. You see, I'm saying, son of the ego is the delusion. And from the delusion, we get upset. It is an effortless process. It demands only an understanding. But in the beginning, we need lot of practices. So he was addressing that 90-year-old that you are studying simply the book and you are teaching the grammar behind the mantra. It does not bring any result. What you are doing. And you have wasted your 90 years of life. And you claim that you are a monk. You are a master. And there instantly he started creating this poem. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamate. Oh fool! So he is addressing that 90 years old. He is not addressing all of us, So we should be happy, He is not addressing any of us, So he is addressing to that 90-year-old guy, Mudhamate, you are fool, what you are doing. You have to remember, you have to become aware of that real self which dwells within you behind the body-mind complex. That is what every mantra represents. And you are stretching and explaining the mantra. It will not work. It will not work. Think of this. We have to get rid of those. No, I have understood the mantra. No, I have understood the practice. Be careful. You have understood the practice and your son enters the room and you get angry. You have not understood anything. You find a difficult situation in your life and you are not able to maintain your calm. Delusion is still there. Delusion is still there. Why? You lose your calm, but the real self is of the nature of the peace and happiness, and you lost your calm. Because of the outer situation, because of the outer condition, because of the mom and dad and son and children and near and the dear ones, a long list. I'm impacted by the outer situation, the world and the people, pain and the pleasure, hot and the cold. You have lost your track of awareness. Even if you have practiced meditation for 10 years regularly, you did not recognize the part of the delusion. Now I have an urgency, that's why I'm not attending a session, obviously. What kind of an urgency you have? what kind of an urgency we can have in the world outside? Tell me. From one delusion we move to the another delusion. That is the nature of the world. World is in constant flux. It is going to change. For example, I am fully busy. Okay, why you are busy? To be in peace and happiness. I will ask you after 10 years, are you not busy? You will remain busy until you die. I have to break that notion that I am fully busy. Why I am busy? I am busy in the world outside. The world is constantly changing. The situation, people, relationships are constantly changing. And I have put pressure on my mind. Because today I am fully busy, tomorrow I will be free. Tomorrow never comes. If you don't believe, think of it. Tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow comes, you have a problem in the belly. Again, you are fully busy. Time is here and now. Have you heard about it? Mindfulness is here and now. I'm just taking you there. Time is here and now. Think of this. Delusion has created a havoc in our life. So this master goes through each and every aspect in the world of relations, of the people, in the things, and attachment, and how we get the pain and how we get upset. He explains in a very simple way in the form of a poetry. Another delusion. That I will achieve the state of mindfulness by material means, not possible. Not at all possible. I have material means, I don't have it, still I can achieve it. That real self is independent of anything in the world outside. That knowledge must be settled completely, 100%, and that takes time. Seed does not become a tree overnight. See, that knowledge cannot be realized on a single day. You have to give some time. That is why in formal education we have 4 years degree, 5 years, 6 years degree. That's why I gave an example of a doctor. I told you last time, my senior, I was already going to my master every day in those days. When I got my first job in the federal government, that women who had 20 years, she said, I have 20 years of experience. So I did not say anything, I waited for a year. And she was constantly repeating, I have 20 years more experience than you. After 1 year, I learnt everything. And I told her that you don't have 20 years of experience. You have only 1 year of experience repeated 20 times. I have more experience than you. Because I recognized her weaknesses, what she was not able to do. We follow a monotonous, habitual life, impulsive life. In meditation, in the journey of awakening, this monotonous, habitual life will not work. Will not work. I have to get out of those obsessions. That sense of the ego that I have 20 years of experience. Even now I cannot say that. I cannot say that. Understand that. So this master is going to help us to remove the delusion which we are not aware, which we have not noticed in our life. And that causes our stress and anxiety and duality. So this master is going to educate us how suffering comes from the delusion. We don't see the impermanent nature of the world, our relationship, of the people outside, my body, my mind, my emotions, my intellect, and that results into millions of delusions. So this poetry educates us to devote, to commit to the real self, who we are. That permanent peace, happiness, love and truth and wisdom. Otherwise, we will continue. We have constant blame, complaint, reaction, duality, conflict, anxiety. How many times we have that in every day? Accumulate that. You will find out how many types of delusion we have. You don't know. You don't know I carry the burden of suffering for the last 10 years. Now you are repeating it. You are habituated it. That stress event of the stress happened 10 years ago and you are still feeding it. We don't realize it. We don't recognize it. Delusion. I can give you millions of examples. Every moment in your life, in 1 hour you are talking to me, I can give you at least 50 moments, the way you have expressed your thought and your speech and your action. That delusion has taken over us. That is the only problem. Whether you say delusion or ignorance or duality or a conflict or ego, they all more or less have a different degree of expression, but they all are the same. I get influenced by short-lived pleasure. I'm eating in a restaurant and I find a food of my taste and oh, what a great taste. And I lose myself. 1 gram of pleasure. I explained last week. You continue to collect 1 gram or 5 grams of pleasure by eating a food of your choice for 10 years. It cannot be equivalent to 1 unit of happiness. Pleasure has come and gone. Pleasure has come and gone. But to recognize that food contains the pleasure is a delusion. So should I not go to the restaurant and go there? What should you do? Remember, repeat and relive in the real self. That pleasure is a reflection of the happiness coming from within you. It is not coming from the food. It is not coming from the good car that you buy. It is not coming from 1 hour of standing before the mirror and you superimposed lot of stuff on your face. No, sorry to say, but that is the fact. That is the fact. So we always remain independent of that state. We remain independent of, and in that sense of independence, I experience that peace and happiness and the joy flowing out of me, in spite of the situation, in spite of the condition, in spite of the relationship. Explain it, the word awakening. That is what the awakening. I awaken to my real nature, which has no parallel to any experience in the world outside. It has taken over the delusion, it has taken over the ignorance. Ignorance is gone, And we have reached to that state, my friend. Self-inquiry is required, repeat listening is required, plus a constant practice is required, and then this is the best way. Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Moodhamate. So I have to address myself. I'm fool, I have been fool in this situation because I experienced the anxiety and then I got upset. And then, I have to find out the series, I have to simply contemplate, relive. When you relive, you are self-aware, you get out of that state instantly. But this applies to a seeker, not to a non-seeker. That's why you see that in the university, when you are studying medicine, they first teach you anatomy. They don't teach you microbiology and physiology. It has to be step by step. Our mind should be reoriented in any subject, in any stream. That is the way we have understood. So we'll start, from the first verse of the poetry in the next session. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed, and being comfortable. You are comfortable. I'm repeating, I'm not going back to explain you that how you have to be comfortable and how you have to be carefree. Simply I said, find out the most comfortable position of the body. Eyes are gently closed and you are settled in the comfort and carefree. That help you reflect in your mind that are you really a seeker? You have already undergone an orientation. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Now see another interpretation. These mantras are so beautiful. Simple meaning, may there be happiness for all. What exactly I'm saying, what my mind is learning. My mind is learning that there is a happiness all pervading, present in all the beings, at all the time, in all the locations. I am bypassing the delusion. Just see that point. Now I have a pain in the body. It is pain in the body, not in me. Delusion is gone. Now I cannot stay for a longer period in the state of the stillness. Who? The body. Who is saying mind? Heart is saying the delusion. We have to move to that state of contemplation and reflection while practicing meditation. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Can you expand your mind, horizon? Why I am seeking peace for all? Because peace is there only. Look at it. Pay attention to it. So that is the meaning of the journey. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. That I, which you call I, is settled in the real self, which says I am complete in myself. I don't have any desire. Hence I am not busy. Still I am busy. I am doing all my activities. I am attending your I am giving you this lesson. After that I have a couple of more lessons. So my mind experiences that sense of the freedom coming from that real self, not engaged in deluded notion that I am so busy. Think of it. You have to contemplate and reflect. Reach to that level of awareness. Why? Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamati. Because there is a self-remembrance. The I is settled in the knowledge of the real self. And what is the knowledge? Knowledge itself is the real self. No, how do you say that? That is pure consciousness. Consciousness does not change. If it does not change, how can you say you are busy? Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Hence, there is an auspiciousness here and now all the time in my life. You are reflecting, you are getting rid of those moments of the delusion that is still working at the subconscious level. I don't want to use the subconscious word because it comes from the modern psychology. We say it comes from the vasanas, the past impression, the impulsive nature that we have accumulated over the years. And the mind doesn't want to break that notion. And now the time has come for continue. We will continue with the breathing part of it. So my friends, look deep inside. Look deep inside the forehead. In the space, start dropping Om Shanti. With the pause I told you, and with pause, start breathing quick and short and gentle breath into the rib cage. And I know if the Terry can do it in that sixth state of the body, anyone can do it. So, but if you cannot do it, it means what? Delusion. And you are doing without any resistance. You recognize if there is any resistance, you bypass it. How? By enduring it. What is endurance? You keep on doing it. You don't listen to the objections. Oh, that is the meaning. I told you, seed does not become a tree overnight. Body doesn't move except the rib cage. There is an expansion and contraction. Om Shanti continues gently deep inside your forehead. There you drop it. And the breath expands and contracts the rib cage. And you continue the journey. I have already revealed that you are doing 4 minutes of the first two breathing and 3 minutes of the third one. And many of you have shared that, it's so easy for me. Continue the journey, no stopping in between. Who stops? Delusion. How? By thought, by resistance, by putting you into some form of an anxiety and a reaction. And you don't listen to them, you bypass. That is the meaning of Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Mudhamate, Bhaj Mudhamate, Govindam, Bhaj Mudhamate. Continue the journey. I know you all are seekers. Seeker never fails. That much I know. Continue the journey. And stop it. You recognize the resistance, the experiences, and bring your awareness on the flow of the breath. Whichever flow is less, you pay attention there. Why you pay attention? So the flow of the breath becomes equal through both the nostrils, and there you stay. That is so wonderful a state. Should I tell you a secret? Without the breathing, without the mantra, at any point of time, in any situation, you just bring your awareness on the flow of the breath, and if they both are equal, you will find that you are already calm. You are reliving in that state. When? In all locations. That is why we will replace this breathing with that passive state of the practice. Let the time come. Now keep looking inside the forehead, Om Shanti, and start the belly breathing. This time expansion and contraction of the belly. It's a longer breath. The mind, it holds your attention of the mind on the breath and continuously, which prevents the distraction. Distraction is a kind of delusion, and you maintain that by endurance. You see, lot of subtle details are there. So I'll be explaining all the subtle details. Why? So that the knowledge should be settled. Continue, my friends. Continue, my friends. Continue the breathing. You simply recognize the resistance. You are not carried away by the resistance. That is the knowledge. I believe you all are getting into it. So what will happen in your life? You have some pain or mental or emotional pain, but you are not carried away by it. In that moment you recognize you are different from it in your relations, in your life. I'm taking you there. And stop it. Recognition plus awareness with the flow of the nostril. If both the flow are equal, wonderful. If not, whichever is the less flow, you pay attention there and you will see within a few seconds the flow of the breath becomes equal. I told you that gradually we are moving to a higher level of awareness where without breathing, without any breathing, we will be able to balance the flow of the breath and continue to extend our awareness on the flow of the breath. Where is going to happen? You can't imagine. Anytime, anywhere. Looking inside the forehead, the third breathing, both into the belly and the ribs. Continue with the Om Shanti. You are aware of the belly expansion and the chest expansion during inhalation, and during exhalation you find the squeezing. Keep on. Continue. Long, deep, hissing breath. You will also recognize that both the flow of the nostrils have even become equal while inhaling and exhaling. That is a wonderful moment. Continue long, deep, piercing breath, and also recognize as if the flow of the breath through the nostrils are equal. And do nothing. Flow of the nostril you're aware of. Which flow is less, you pay attention. If the equal flow is there, just stay with it. In this journey, we find some indicators, and gradually we will get out of those indicators also. Now, looking inside the cave of your heart, visualize the triangle of any color, equilateral, and you're able to see first point of awareness moving on the side, second point of awareness mind, third is dropping the Om Shanti, clockwise and anti-clockwise to see if it is sinking. It may happen the sink may come only just moving once, and if that happens, just be aware of the center of the triangle, sing mentally long Om, pushing the mind inside. The cave of the heart seemingly stops. What? Mind. Shanti and your absorption. Pay attention there. If it doesn't happen, don't fight, no resistance, return again to the triangle. Please, no resistance, no fighting. That fighting and resistance is also a part of the delusion. When I am of the nature of peace and happiness, why should I fight? and go to the japa. Mind's eye, mind's touch, mind's tongue. You definitely recognize all the senses are living inside the mind and doing Om Shanti, dropping at 16 segments of a finger. That we have already understood in our previous sessions. Sometime you get variety of experiences. Your segment of a finger have a bubbling sensation. It increases. It covers the entire body. Sometime we have vision in the colors. We just witness them and we continue. We are not carried away by any one of them. Sometimes the body moves, it is because I identifies with the body. You simply recognize, do not fight, no resistance at all. An easy flow comes when we are aware. The flow is disrupted. We have already discussed that. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand, Lift your both your palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down, we'll share all of our experiences. How are you, Samir?
Sir, it was very deep and total darkness was there and everything, it looks like something means darkness is going inside me. When you told me not to push when in the triangle, so something was pushing inside my heart and I was going more deeper and I was enjoying the situation. Means as you were pushing, means something was pushing inside me and I was enjoying total process of what was happening.
Beautiful. Patanjali says it is Pratyak Chetana. Pratyak Chetana means the inward moving mind. I recognize the inward moving mind. I do not move the mind within. Do you see the difference between the two? You're sitting and mind is inward. That is the way. Wonderful, good experience. How are you, David?
Good morning. Thank you. Yeah, just a really, really good meditation. It like simple and fresh and clean. And during the breathing, I had a light indigo color, but I could see yellow or lime, like your green on the wall behind you, or whatever that is behind you, type color that was predominant through the entire meditation. And as I got into the heart center, the indigo color was like rich blue, like Dennis's. So it was very, very deep.
Simple, easy, and effortless. That indicates, the easy flow of the mind. And the colors, and why it happened, because last time everyone shared that breathing was so easy. So it was 5 minutes, 4 minutes, and 3 minutes today. So we have to go to 6 minutes. We are going to wonderful David. Jerry is not there?
She did a sleepover at Jordan's place last night.
Oh, okay. How are you? Okay. How are you, Brandy?
I'm good, thank you. During my meditation, I remembered something you said before. Are you working on the mind, or is the mind working on you? And that kind of became a little bit of a mantra for me, that I'm working on the mind, right? And I thought of you on the weekend because I had a nightmare, and before I even came out of the dream, my mind told me, like, this is not real, right? This is a dream. That was part of your sharing out the other Saturday or Thursday or something. So I was like, wow. I mean, it worked before I even fully came to consciousness, working on the mind.
Thank you for remembering me, but also the principle. That is more important. We will do PhD on whether you are working on the mind or mind is working on No, this is just a lighter note. I know you understand it. How are you, Christina?
Thank you. I appreciate the laughter and humor. I noticed I was shifting from thinking about breathing to just being with the breath, and it was a lot of ease, very different experience, and a lot of shivers or chills throughout.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a beautiful, you see that this is a very good, that is why we share the experiences. Just being with the breath, or I focus on the breath to do the breathing. These are the two different states of the mind. And that is how the mindfulness was discovered by these masters who says it is an effortless, natural state of awareness. But unless we complete the PhD, we cannot reach there. No. So, how are you, Dennis? I don't see you.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah, now I see you, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. What I noticed today during the final step of the breathing is like this imaginary pipe where the breath moves. It
Good.
like expanded so much that I had trouble doing the hissing sound on the exhale because the capacity of this pipe expanded so much that I could breathe in so much air and I could breathe it out so fast that there was no hissing sound when doing exhale. Other than that, the meditation was very deep and very good.
It's a really wonderful, you all are sharing your experiences. Now, if you remember these experiences will be exchanged during the practice. And what he noticed that during the exhalation of the third breathing, it was not the hissing breath, it was the total clear breath without any noise. What it indicates, the flow of the breath has become equal. The same thing comes with the indigo color. Same thing happens with the indigo color. Same thing happens when you are simply aware that I have to work on the mind. So these variety of those experiences helps us, and they will come and go. Sometimes one experience dominates and dictates over the other based on our past impression, based on our personality, our attitude. This is what happens. So are you ready to speak, Terry, or no? If no, it's okay.
I can, I think. I noticed a lot of trouble doing more than one thing at a time, a lot of effort and a lot of resistance. And I kept forgetting the Shanti.
Good.
But my brain kept saying Haji Govinda instead of Shanti, which is so much more, you would think that would be harder to say.
Yeah.
But that was easy. And it wanted to say that. And I had a thought that I wondered how much ego is involved in my desire to succeed.
Yes. Yes. Don't bring that ego. Just move with the flow and just, as Krishna was saying that I was being with the breath instead of breathing. That's a wonderful way. The same way everyone, shared differently. But that makes a sense that, mind was going inside. It was the inward moving mind. That is the same thing, more or less the same thing. I told you that we have to do PhD in this work. Once you do that, you know all each and every minute aspects of the journey. And we say, mindfulness, effortless practice, that medical student. Now, my honey was saying that you have a greater tolerance power. I said, is it an appreciation or a complaint? So she just kept quiet, Don't tell my honey, you all know my honey. So are you ever,
Thank you, sir. Sir, mine was smooth, practice was smooth, calm.
Calm, wonderful. That's beautiful. Throughout the journey, how are you? So yes, Ashok.
Hello. Sir, the mind was quiet and calm, and flow was uniform.
Good.
I mean, almost equal, yes.
Beautiful.
It is
beautiful. Beautiful. I was just
And
talking
thank you, sir.
about her. I have to maintain my awareness. I have a greater tolerance power, what it means. So she is notifying that I don't have that much of tolerance. That is my way of life. That is also a delusion. That is also a delusion. But can I say to her, no? Unless you are ready, only then I can say. If you are not ready, we don't say anything. We don't say anything. If I say anything, it becomes a part of the ego. You live your life, I live my life. That nature must be settled in us, in any situation, with all our relations in the world. Then we can find that moment. Thank you, my friends, welcome. We will meet again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Namaste,
you.
everyone.
Thank you,
Namaste.
sir. Namaste.
Series is all about hammer the delusion. We know the delusion is known as Maya, ignorance, projection, and the impurities of the mind. And only the delusion causes the insecurity, dissatisfaction, and unhappiness in our life. Otherwise, we are of the nature of the real self, of the peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. I call it as Eastern wisdom, gynecology. I call it as Eastern wisdom, social sciences. I will call it as Eastern wisdom, pediatrics. Oh, I have never heard of it. Now you will hear it from me. What I am giving you, after all, I am giving you a thought. Thought is a product of knowledge. So if you contemplate and reflect, you receive that knowledge. And when that knowledge is settled in your intellect first, with a clarity and conviction, it descends into the mind, the life changes. The delusion is gone. So a little bit about gynecology. Starts with the baby in the womb of the mother. Whether you are born of a richest parent or down-to-earth parent, the womb of the mother is the same. You have to think in that way to remove the delusion. The womb of the mother is the same fallopian tube. Consciousness is the same, whether we were in the womb of the mother or outside. It does not change. And after a few months of the babies, oh, the baby is moving. Those who are mothers who have that experience, and those who are parents, they also have an experience. I'm going slowly. So modern science perceives at the material level. Oh, the legs are moving, the hands are moving, that baby is talking in the womb of the mother. We see from a different perspective. Consciousness embodies the body, is imprisoned in that space. If it is not imprisoned in that space, it cannot survive. We were all imprisoned in that space for 9 months. Womb of the mother limits. And that is why we want to be free. That is why we are throwing our hands and the feet, we make our movements to get out of it. I'm only taking gynecology first. I'm giving you a thought to understand where comes the delusion. The richest parent cannot provide you the, can I say, the sweet, warm in a star hotel. It is the same. Whether you have a different color, whether you have a very sharp nose or the eyes. Warm is the same, imprisoned, limited. So that consciousness is full of knowledge and that embodies the body. It wants to get free. That is why there is a movement. I want to be free. Make me free. Womb of the mother is the same. We find limited. We find a sense of insecurity because of that limitation. We are unhappy living into that cage. We want to break that limitation. We do not know how, except throwing our feet and the hands in the womb of the mother. We didn't know what we are doing, and still we are doing. Is it not a ignorance? So I'll stop there. When we come out of the womb of the mother, we start crying, where I have come. Again, I have to face the same limitations. I have to experience the same limitations. That is the delusion part of it. And that is carried forward throughout our life. We learned when there is a limitation, we already learned at the time of the birth to cry. Who laughs at the limitation? Who laughs at dissatisfaction? Tell me. I cried because I do not understand when I wet the bed. It is ignorance. Do you cry now if you have an urge to go to washroom? See the difference between the ignorance and see between the ignorance and the knowledge, my friends. Do you cry if you are hungry? You simply go to the kitchen. See that? You are 2 years old. You cannot go out. Do you cry? Now? No, I can go outside. Our parents put us into limitation. Any kind of limitation to the consciousness causes the delusion. And that delusion manifests in sense of insecurity, dissatisfaction, unhappiness. We have to love this knowledge of Eastern wisdom. Once you are in love with the knowledge, you can get rid of the delusion at any time. Love of the knowledge will dissolve the love of the delusion. Mind is not distracted. Mind remains naturally focused. No, I'm not going there, to the delusion. What do you mean by the love? You listen more from a different perspective. You want more and more of the knowledge. You are more attached to the knowledge of the real self instead of attachment outside in the world. The most important factor is listening and learning with the teacher. That is what the masters are saying, and followed by the contemplation and reflection. Followed by the practice. So that is the story of Bhaj Govindam. This text, Bhaj Govindam. Bhaj means love. Govindam, you can say, I have told you, we discussed last time. Govindam, One meaning, Govindam is an epitome, an image of the Krishna, the greatest master, the originator of the East and West. When you love Krishna, you love the knowledge. I don't want to believe in enemies. Nobody. You love knowledge. Many people send the email, I have a headache. So you have a love for the headache, it's go ahead. You have a headache, you must attend the session. No, I am very busy. Where are you busy? Tell me. You are only busy to find another limitation to fall back into another delusion. I can tell you. Find out where are you busy. Tell me. Give me an example. Oh, we rationalize. We try to keep that limitation, unhappiness and dissatisfaction. Hammer the delusion. We have to hammer the delusion through the knowledge. We are not talking of belief and blind belief, and we are not talking of preaching that you just believe me and everything will happen. No, nothing will happen if you don't receive the knowledge. If you don't hammer the delusion, if you don't remove the delusion, the insecurity, dissatisfaction, unhappiness will never go if you continue to live in ignorance. No way. No way. But at the same time, you have to love the knowledge. How you love the knowledge? If you love someone, you always want to be near with it. You always want to talk about that person. Isn't it? Say me if it is not true. You wake up in the morning, is your mind ready to talk about the Eastern wisdom, the real self? No, I have a headache and I have a lot of problems. And are you saying that you are a seeker? I'm hammering on your delusion. Think of it. Delusion is living our life since we wake up in the morning until we retire to the bed. And the next day it is the same thing we do. We change a little bit quantity. I fought with the honey today, and tomorrow I say, I'm very sorry, honey, because I have a sense of insecurity. The next day it is the same thing. That is the way we live our life. Are you saying, are you living your life, or your delusion is living your life? I told you that we have to be little tough. This master is very tough. I'm not tough, What I have to do with being tough on you? You will leave the session. Hammer the delusion. So Bhaj Govindam is hammer the delusion. I gave another definition. Remember, recall and relive the real self. Because I love the real self. No, I love the delusion. So when I love the delusion, attachment will be there, pain and pleasure will be there, victory and defeat will be there, gain and the loss will continue to be there. In my relationship with my kids, with my honey, with my boss, continues. I continue to live. I continue to give a big lecture on my boss, how my boss is crazy and how I'm more intelligent than the boss. Hammer the delusion. This master is more tough than what I'm talking about it. He explores all the areas of our limitations that consciousness, as if it is in the cage, it wants to set free, but we follow a wrong path. I want to be secure by something outside. I want to be happy by choosing an object or a person and a relationship outside. Not possible. I want to be satisfied with something outside. There is always a sense of dissatisfaction continues. Tell me if it is not true. until now you have lived your life? Is there 100% satisfaction? Is there 100% happiness? Can you smile in pain? Can you challenge the delusion with your smile? If it is possible, then obviously you are treading the path. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. Remember, don't forget that Eastern wisdom gynecology. Think of it. That consciousness is always free, but embodies the body. I am the body. That sense came in the womb of the mother, and I started throwing the feet. I want to set free myself. I am saying to my mom, leave me. Ignorance, delusion, impurities. You have to see, you have to think. What I give you, I'm just giving you a thought. I don't give you anything tangible. But anything tangible in the world is not going to help you to be in complete happiness, total security. Do you see that masters of Eastern wisdom, when you send an email, they look at your email from that perspective. And they say, okay, this guy has created another delusion, what should I say? We enjoy, we laugh at it. See that? Look at it. Our perception is minus delusion, only pure knowledge of the real self. We are in love with the real self. So this text is a poem, and it urges to wake up from the ignorance in a very, you can say, in a sarcastic manner. In a very sarcastic manner. Have you seen the literature? We have covered many principles. Seriously, clarity, we have contemplated and reflected. So we have the literature from every possible way to attack the delusion in the mind. So this poem, even though on one side we say Bhaj Govindam, love real self, you were imprisoned at the time of the womb of the mother when you were living there. You have to get rid of it. You who wanted to be set free. What are you doing? Now you understand. Now you can receive the knowledge. It is the right time. The right time never comes. So, right time. So the poem urges us to wake up from ignorance. We waste our precious human life chasing the false desire that only lead to sorrow. Worldly pleasures are considered as distractions, bubbles on the surface with no depth. I have to understand it through the knowledge. It doesn't mean that I should stop. True joy and the meaning come from within, from our relationship with the real self. But we get deluded, hypnotized by the outer opinions. We forget the deeper truth. That is the delusion. We all are seekers now. So that's why I can talk in a very subtler way. Now see that sarcastic and also very attacking tone of this master. Do you know when the death will come? I don't know. So how I wait for the death? I have a headache. I have to settle a score with you. I reacted against you. I have been thinking against you for the last 3 days, disturbing my sleep. Do you know that death will come? And I enter into my unnecessary likes and dislikes, hatred and the jealousy. Is it not a delusion? So when I understand this, my mind becomes free. No, I'm not talking about that. No. I'm not talking. No distraction, please. So no distraction, the mind is naturally steady. But in order to give the mind a direction, remember, recall, relive the real self. In the mind, how to do in my relationship, always become a contributor. Never become a consumer. The moment you are a consumer, you are looking for an attachment, you are looking for a delusion, you are looking for satisfaction where there is only dissatisfaction. You are looking for a security where there is only insecurity. Tell me anything in the world where the object or a person or a relationship where there is a complete security. I take an example of my honey says, I love you. Tomorrow I am no more. Do you still love me? Sarcastic as well as the fundamental truth of life. So we say these are the distractions. So I should not love my honey. No. That real self, let it express the love, should manifest in my relationship. So I become a contributor. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. This is the meaning of living in a moment with awareness. Now we have heard somewhere, we have read the literature, living in a moment from this Bhaj Govindam, and we have started using intellectually. Unless I know in depth, it is not possible. Misunderstanding causes the illusion that trap me. I'm just going through the first poem. Delusion causes the confusion, what is real versus unreal, leading to suffering. Go back. So I use the word gynecology, Eastern wisdom, gynecology, so that you will remember all the time. At least you will say, oh, this crazy guy is talking about, and gynecology is this. No, real gynecology is this. Those gynecologists do not know that I am the nature of the real self, that is pure consciousness. It embodies the body. It is imprisoned. It wants to set itself free. That is why it is moving the legs. And we say, oh, my baby, come on, my baby. That is why you are suffering. That is why you are still suffering. Once the delusion is removed, you agree on that. All delusion manifests as problems, anxiety, frustration, laziness. We falsely believe we are worthy of suffering because I am imprisoned, limited. And that limitedness can never go away without removing the delusion. You do whatever you want to do. Is Bill Gates out of that limitation? Tell me. That's why I used to refer. He lived loveless life for 27 years. Why you lived loveless life for 27 years? Did you not recognize in the very first year? No, I respect him here. My son was saying that you always praised Bill Gates because he donated $90 billion. I said I still praise him for that. But I don't praise him for saying that he lived loveless life for 27 years. He did not recognize the delusion in the first year. He continued it for 27 years. Now he's still continuing. He is with someone else. I know those people who are looking for some love outside. They will not agree with me. Don't agree with me. No problem. No problem at all. Live in delusion. Live in another delusion for a couple of years. Death will not wait you to complete that delusion. Sarcastic tone of the master. I'm not saying. Don't blame me. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. Bhaj Govindam Moodhamate. He says that is the foolishness you are in your life. In the garb of the delusion, you are seeking love from outside. You are seeking something from outside, an object or a person. In order to break that limitation, to experience that infinite consciousness, to experience that love, not at all possible. We are not saying don't stop living there, go to the Himalayas. We are saying change your mindset. We are saying change delusion to dispassion. Living in the same world, you become a contributor instead of a consumer. And the life blossoms. It breaks all those limitations. Be grateful to the opportunities to serve. Maintain an emotional poise and mental clarity in all the situations. This is the message. I told you, I've already given you the meaning of remembering, remember, recall, relive. You simply remember means what? That you are putting a knowledge into your mind. What knowledge you are putting? I am the real self. I cannot be limited. I cannot be insecure. But problem is there, I have lot of insecurity. You have only insecurities because you depend on something outside in the world. Mindset depends. The moment you have an emotional dependence, you have an intellectual fantasy, intellectual paralysis that we have already covered in the previous series. I fantasize. I love Miss Universe. It will give you total security. Go for it. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Moodhamate. So the master is saying, Moodhamate, fool. I have already explained you the meaning of the fool, mad, and the wise. Do you remember? No, I don't remember. So it's okay if you don't remember. Hammer the delusion. Love to the real self. When you love to the real self, you know how to remember by talking about it, by understanding about it. That is what is the meaning of the attachment in the world outside. Your mind, if it is attached, if it falls in love. Here we are talking of rising in love. We are not talking of falling in love. Falling in love is attachment. It is fantasizing. It is fantasy. Hammer the delusion and love to the real self. Remove the delusion, reveal the real self. That is the meaning of this. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. We will take up the first verse again from the next week. But remember, if I don't know whether it struck your mind, our Eastern wisdom gynecology. Think in the way that I'm imprisoned, I'm so much limited. That consciousness cannot be bound, cannot be imprisoned. So it has to manifest itself through the body to move. It wants to set free. It does not know whether I'm inside the womb of the mother. It wants a freedom. So there is a total ignorance I'm living in. And when I came out of the womb of the mother, I still start crying. I'm still in ignorance. Where the hell I am now? It's such an interesting series of this Bhaj Govindam. If you can tolerate as a seeker always can tolerate and endure. It can go a little deeper by contemplation and reflection. Last point then I thank my mom because you allowed me to come onto this earth as a human being. Whatever the parents are good or bad from your perspective, no. I thank my parents. I'm grateful to them. I'm grateful to them because at least, I am born as a human being. I can receive the knowledge, I can understand it. Look at the beauty of the Eastern wisdom. Close your eyes. Let us start our eyes are closed and being comfortable and carefree. Now you all are seekers. I need not to go deeper into the explaining your being the comfortable and carefree, my friend. No worries, and I will explain pediatrics, I will explain social sciences, I will explain anatomy and the physiology. That's my way of expression, the way I have understood. So being comfortable and carefree, and now is the time. I use the mantra. Mantra is a thought. Thought gives me the knowledge. Now see what happens. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. You might be thinking I have to be a contributor, and the mind puts you in another delusion. And then you go to your son and you say, I'm contributing to your life, and then you are creating a mess, more mess. No, internally, mentally and emotionally, you start with that. What is that? May there be happiness for all. So in that, with eyes closed, become aware of the near and the dear ones you remember. In one of the sessions, the guy was asking, I cannot create an image about the Buddha. No, that is not the case. You simply remember. Thinking image has to be there. You look mentally, you look at your honey, happiness should prevail there. To your son, to your near and dear ones, please also look in me. Ultimately, you expand your horizon, your mind, to every being on this earth. May there be happiness for all. So you are looking for one thing. That happiness is nothing but your real self. And that is the love for the real self. That is the meaning of Bhaj Govinda. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. You are looking for a common factor in everything and every being. That is the love for the real self. Understand it clearly. In attachment, we don't want to sit with the people. We want to go into a room, close it, and we start thinking, and then we already have the gadgets, we want to share the chat messages, private issues. Here there is nothing is private. Everywhere it is possible. Private, you fall in love. Open, you rise in love. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness and all. So it gives you an intuitive insight that I'm complete in myself because I'm consciousness. I see myself incomplete with reference to the body, with reference to my relationship, with reference to the money, with reference to anything and everything of the world. And there comes the attachment and the delusion takes over me. You see the meaning of this mantra? How the Shanti mantras have been intelligently revealed by these masters. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be an auspicious. So what do you see? I see the auspiciousness everywhere, even in pain and the pleasure, even in gain and the loss. Gain and the loss belongs to the matter. It has nothing to do with me. But we still continue to purify the mind. I told you that is also necessary. So looking deep inside, pay attention, looking deep inside the forehead, in the space, pick a point in the space and start Om Shanti. Om, a fraction of millisecond of pause. You are not in a hurry. Shanti. You also recognize Om is the real self, Shanti is the peace, as if you are in love with it. And Om Shanti, at the same time you start breathing, quick and gentle breath into the rib cage. You're getting rid of that delusion. Body remain in the state of comfort and steadiness. You are carefree and continue doing it. I need not to say anything. You get absorbed in the breathing. Why you get absorbed in the breathing? Because your mind is now bent upon, resolved that I want a purification of the mind. You need not to focus on anything. That is a part of the modern psychology. In Eastern wisdom, we don't say you have to focus excluding other things. Continue, my friends. Continue. We're treating another level of this journey of the Eastern wisdom. Om Shanti, nothing but it is Om. You just move with the love. And at the same time, you say, mind, you're not allowed to go anywhere. That's why you are breathing. Continue, quick, short, gentle breath into the rib cage, expansion and contraction, because you raise your awareness. So it is possible to be aware of the expansion and the contraction of the rib cage, aware of the Om Shanti, aware of the space inside, aware of being comfortable and carefree. So what happens? You are breaking the limitations. That is what I have explained in the very beginning. I termed it Eastern wisdom gynecology. You are withdrawing yourself. Continue. Om Shanti. If your mind is absorbed with dropping the Om Shanti there, you have no issue of breathing even for a longer period. That is what we need to understand clearly. So the delusion even in the practice is gone, and if it is gone, you rise in consciousness. And stop it. Allow the breath to return to its normal state. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. And you already have a cognition of your change in the experiences. Plus also if there is any resistance doing that resistance is caused by the delusion. And you already know if there is a less flow from one nostril, you pay attention there to see that the flow of both the nostrils are the same, and then you enjoy that state simply. Why? So I'm giving you a thought in that knowledge is there. What? If the flow is equal in both the nostrils, you are very near, extremely near to the real self, if I say so. Now, looking inside again the forehead in the space, Om Shanti, and this time you start doing belly breathing. It's a little longer breath, or maybe sometime the hissing breath. You expand the belly during inhalation, and you contract the belly during exhalation. Om Shanti continues, body remains in the state of comfort and carefree. Continue doing it, my friends. Continue. Hissing breath into the belly. Your experiences continue to change. You recognize the resistance. You also recognize if the breath is going equally through both the nostrils or not. Continue. Sometimes your mind objects continuing the breathing, and that is where the resistance comes. We are not moving the body. So like in jogging, because the body also consumes a lot of oxygen. Here, that is the uniqueness of the breathing practices that the science is yet to understand. And stop this. Allow the breath to return to the normal. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. If the flow is less in any of these nostrils, pay attention there. And simultaneously, you are also aware of the resistances you faced or no resistance, and the change in the experiences. And now again go back to the Om Shanti, deep inside the forehead in the space, and start breathing long, deep, and the hissing breath both from the belly and the rib cage. You inhale very long breath. You are aware of it. You expand your belly, expand your rib cage, you contract your belly and the rib cage. Something unique will happen. We are already continuing this breathing practice. Something unique will happen in the breathing practices as we have been continuing for so long. So that continued longer period of the practice will surely bring the result, and I'm waiting for that. What? No, I'll not tell you unless you tell me your experience. Otherwise, mind will condition. Continue. Long, deep, and the hissing breath, Om Shanti, continues. And stop this. Go back again to the flow of the breath. Pay attention to the flow of the breath which has less flow, either right or the left. And if it is equal, just enjoy that. Look at it, how the flow of the breath. You have to answer me one question. We have 2 ears and the eyes to know the depth of the sound and the depth of the distance at which we see an object, because it helps us. 2 eyes are required, 2 ears are required, but why 2 nostrils? It is the same oxygen that is flowing, same carbon dioxide that is coming. It makes sense to have 2 ears, it makes sense to have 2 eyes. But why 2 nostrils? The depth and the distance doesn't matter here. Anyhow, return to the triangle in the cave of your heart, equilateral triangle, pointing upward, moving the mind on the triangle. Even you can do it with eyes open. At a later stage, we are going to do it. We are already withdrawn the mind from the sense organ. So moving the mind on a triangle, dropping Om Shanti on each side of a triangle, anti-clockwise and clockwise, finding the sink. And the moment you find the sink means what? The mind is flowing naturally, it is not going anywhere. And that is the right time to sing. While singing, push the mind as if the Om is pushing the mind deep inside the cave of your heart. Mind seemingly stops, and there you drop Shanti, conscious self-absorption. No worries, I'll explain each and every word. That is the beauty of the Eastern wisdom. We don't leave anything in the dark. It can happen even when you are driving, but I will never suggest now. And now going to the japa Om Shanti. First segment to the mind side, to the mind's space, to the mind's ear, to the mind's touch. So you are aware all the sense organs are living in the mind, it's not going outside. It has nothing to move with an action. So actionless state is there. When you have an actionless state, it is also a thoughtlessness. We'll talk about it. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down, and we will share our experiences. So, how are you, Dennis?
I'm good, thank you. In the meditation, I had during the first stage of breathing experienced coolness in my head. Then during the next stages, warmth, almost hotness in the whole body. Then it was very deep, and I think, yes, during the mantra. Oh yes, during the triangle part, the triangle. The first time I saw triangle like in fire. The sides of the triangle like were burning.
Yeah.
And then during the japa, I was able to do only 2.5 fingers. It was so slow, and the mind was so absorbed into each segment that it was very smooth and slow. And regarding the talk, the phrase that I took away for further contemplation and reflection is any kind of limitation to the consciousness causes the delusion. Is something that I will contemplate on further.
Beautiful experiences that you had. It's worth understanding that fire in the triangle also represents a clarity and a dissolving of the ignorance. It is a symbolic way. Tell me a simple thing before I go to. At the time, we started throwing our legs and the feet in the womb of the mother, and that is what we started doing once we came out of the womb of the mother. What we are doing now, we are doing the same thing. I hate you, so I have thrown my legs. I like you. Come on. Enough is enough. Do you understand the metaphor? I hate you. And I loved you yesterday, now I hate you. I'm doing the same thing. Even now. And what I say, I am a very mature person. Yes, you are very mature. David, if you are listening, I know you are driving, but if you can talk, David and Jerry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry about that. I was self-serving. I guess, about the message in the beginning and I kind of turned it into a mathematical formula, which I have like right on great, but that knowledge and awareness, and I find it articulating it that way extremely powerful for understanding the power of knowledge.
Beautiful. And is Jerry listening?
Yes, sir. Thank you. But it's interesting. I actually so similar. I didn't obviously feel as absorbed, but yet that's an attitude, and I feel like this Ajivindam is going to be a really wonderful You know, when we get stuck, we have to be able to look and want to make the change or accept or whatever it is that we need to do so that the possibilities are limitless and we aren't limited. And I really loved that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. David and the Jerry. I'm sorry, Jerry in the nursing profession, so I destroyed her. Well, you know, the modern medical science, you know, the gynecology. You have to think of it, my friends, I tell you. That's a beautiful way of explained by the Jerry. But I'm repeating, you have to think what we did in the womb of the mother. We started throwing our hand and feel what we did when we were born, and what we are doing now. We are doing the same thing, but we are doing in a mature way, and that is the extreme immaturity. No, I hate you. From today I will not talk. Enough is enough. So instead of throwing my hands and the feet, I am throwing my emotions. Are you getting it? So even if you are not getting it, you will get it one day. Are you, Brandy?
Good. I'm having some issues with sinuses and allergies, and so I'm always a little hesitant to do the breathing. I feel like I need to protect myself, but then I always feel so much better. Like it provides a clearing and some bodilessness. But I think it's speaking of the body. I think it's so interesting that essentially, our consciousness is free, but we take the form of the body to find the freedom of our consciousness.
Yeah.
So I was having that sort of contemplation during the meditation today. That we come all the way into this body and all the stuff that comes with it to get free.
Beautiful. You say that, I say, you say I love you and I say I hate you. So with reference to the mind, I found myself limited. How dare you hate me? I've been loving you. But the consciousness is ever free. So I start throwing my feet and hands of my mind and emotions in the thought, and that causes the delusion. This is what we have to recognize. How are you, Christina?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I noticed today the breathing felt more effortless. And I have one question. I was thinking the idea of when we say we're busy, we're so busy. And so from an Eastern perspective, how should we think about, let's say a day, we've got 20 things to do and our thoughts are, I'm busy.
Yeah, first step is that being busy means I'm attached to so many things. So that's why I have so many thoughts. And second point of being busy is that if I complete all my works for which I am attached, I'll be happy. From there you start contemplating. So you can drop at least 90% of those thoughts which caused you the busyness. You'll find one or two which is very urgent and you do it and live in peace. That is one way to look at it. Why I'm busy? Because I have so many thoughts. Why I have so many thoughts? Because these thoughts are absorbed into different directions. Whether it's an event or a situation or a relationship. And then you will recognize that all these thoughts are just a matter of delusion. Only one and two things that I have to do it. So basically we are not busy, we are free. We are throwing our feet and the hands. Again, I'm talking about gynecology in the womb of the mother. We behave in the same way. That is being the way. How are you, Barbara?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good, thank you. I felt very relaxed and at peace during the breathing.
Yeah, that's really good.
Which is kind of the first time that happened, because there's usually a tiny bit of stress, but this time there was none.
Beautiful.
And
yeah.
I I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question. If you live in consciousness, does the meaning of the word mind, does that meaning change? You no longer use the word my.
Yes, yes. Consciousness is like a sun, and the mind is like a moon. So moon has a reflected light of a sun. So that reflected consciousness creates an I, me in the mind. Consciousness has no issue of me, mine, I am, he, she, or. There is no division in that. There is no division. So obviously you asked me a question that is little higher level, and we are going to take up that. It's a beautiful way to say, how are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. The practice was calm, smooth, was good.
Practice was good. Beautiful. How are you, Samir? Where is Samir?
Sir, practice was very, very peaceful today.
Very peaceful today.
While I was breathing now slowly, are you able to listen to me, sir?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, slowly now my breathing is becoming clear day by day. It means I just start continuing watching my this breath going inside my nostrils, and I feel it a lot. Means while they are going, coming there, the awareness is at its peak. Sometimes it's a lot of enjoyment. Then I feel like keep on doing it while sitting, whether I am doing meditation or I am sometimes not doing it, or just sitting in the shop. So it gives me a lot of.
Yes. That is very important. We have to bring these steps into our daily life to get rid of the delusion. As he is saying, sitting at the shop, mind turns to the breath and it finds that free flow of the breath. It's very important. So I never said this, but it should. You should be able to recall. That is what I said, Bhaj Govindam is. Recall, remember, and relive in the real self. Even if you can do it consciously. Your busyness will go away, Christina. But we don't do it. So the delusion is maintained. Beautiful. How are you, Ashok? And if Terry can speak, we can talk to her.
I am good, peace and calm. And I have one question. The last time there was some, you were telling me if we, suppose we are going to some restaurant, we have some food, so there's happiness is coming from the consciousness. So I want to ask that happiness coming from the consciousness or it is from the food?
Yes, happiness always comes from the consciousness. If the happiness comes from the food, so whenever you have a stress or anxiety, take that food to be happy. Is it possible? It is not possible. So
mental state is
mind projects the happiness of the consciousness on that food. That is why we experience the happiness in that food. Does a particular food says you that I am very happy, please come and take me?
No.
No, then how can you say that food contains the happiness? Somebody takes chicken, somebody takes beef, somebody takes veggie. Everyone likes a different food. How can you say that happiness contains in all these foods? Then you will stop attending my sessions. No worries, crazy beard guy, I will have happiness by a food or this food.
Okay, got it.
Second part,
Thank you, sir.
happiness is not a property of any object, anything in the world. Whether it is relations, whether it is food, whether it is house, whether it is money, whether it is anything. So once That is the greatest part of the delusion. We are deluded by projecting that happiness. I like this food. Because you like, that is why you get happiness. If you dislike, will you get happiness from that food?
So we have to go beyond the likes and dislikes.
Yes. How are you, Terry, if you can speak? No? No, very good.
I never know until I tried. I felt during the breathing like there was two of me.
That's very good.
One was doing the
breathing.
Yeah, and the other was watching.
I love it. Why I love it? Because we have been recognizing only one I since our birth. Society, culture, religion says this I. So what is the dispassion and discernment? Discernment recognizes the two I. The one I is constantly engaged in throwing the feet and the hands. No, we all are adults, so we are throwing our feet and hands through our emotions, through our thoughts, through our mind, through our relations, through our anxiety and stress. That I is not the real I. That I is not the real I.
The anxiety.
Yeah, anxiety belongs to that I. And the one that is a witness, that is watching, is the real I. Where we have, it is here and now.
Yeah. The throwing the feet and the anxiety are the same.
It is the same. Metaphorically,
yeah.
Because I live in a greater ignorance at the time of the childhood, so I did not have the vocabulary, so I was throwing my feet in the hands and I started crying. Now my way of crying, when I so-called, I claim that I am mature. And then I prove I prove myself. You know, at the time of the so-called, I feel that I am a mature person. So through that, out of maturity, I start complaining that I am worthy of suffering. By rationalizing, that is the greatest delusion in our life.
And being busy is...
Yeah, being busy is the same thing, you know. No one is busy. Consciousness is never busy.
It's thinking about doing your task rather than doing it.
When you recognize the delusion in being busy, you will come to the very pragmatic state of the mind where it says, do this. What is the job for me just now? Let me talk. Let me finalize this session. That is all. Finished. I have no other issue. No other issue. So I keep my busyness of the mind. You leave. You live outside. That is all for today. 2 weeks ago, David and Jerry, I believe you are listening. Just after completing the Thursday session, I also drove to California to meet my son.